Hey, how's going guys? Today's video is dedicated to the people having an absolute crappy PC. In today's video I am going to show you top 10 best games for 512 MB RAM low end PCs. No graphic card required, so basically this video is for just any type of PC regardless of its hardware specifications. All the above 10 games are super underrated and I am sure you probably never heard of any one of these games. So before we get started, if it's your first time watching my video then don't forget to subscribe as I upload much more of these videos and even better. Also don't forget to like the video as it motivates me to make better content. So now let's get started after the intro.
Let's roll.
3, 2, 1.
On number 10 spot we have True Crime New York City. True Crime is an open-world action-adventure game played from a third-person perspective, in which the player controls Detective Marcus Reed of the PDNY. There are 4 major cases in the game: the Magdalena Cartel, the Palermo Mob, the President's Club, and the Shadow Tong. When the game begins, only the Magdalena Cartel case is available for play, but once that case has been closed, the player is free to play the remaining 3 cases in any order they wish. The game falls into the subgenre of Grand Theft Auto clones as the core gameplay and game mechanics are very similar to 2001's Grand Theft Auto. The player can travel across the city freely, commandeer vehicles, do whatever they want in terms of attacking and/or killing innocent civilians, progress through the storyline at their own leisure, spending as much time traversing the city as they wished, and engage in minigames and side quests. The 3 main side quests are a street racing circuit, an underground fight club tournament, and securing confidential informants. Another new addition to the True Crime franchise is the ability for the player to traverse the city not just on foot or by car, but by using public transport. The New York City subway system is available for use, and the player can also hail yellow taxis at any time, requesting transport to any point on the map. Both modes of transportation require a minimal fee. The main game involves 3 main types of mission, each with its own unique gameplay: shooting, fighting and driving. Driving missions can involve either trying to catch another car, or escape from another car, at all times. When the player is in a car, their car's condition is shown on screen. If the car's health meter empties, the car is close to destruction, so definitely worth a try if you love GTA-type games. On number 9 spot we have Battlefield 1942. Don't judge this game by its graphics, I say never. This game is really freaking awesome. Battlefield 1942 is a first-person shooter video game. The gameplay of Battlefield 1942 generally has a more cooperative focus than previous games of this nature, as it is not only important to kill the opposition but to also hold certain control points around the map. Capturing control points allows the team to reinforce itself by enabling players and vehicles to spawn in a given area. Additionally, capturing and controlling control points also reduces enemy reinforcements. Battlefield 1942 was one of the first mainstream games to represent a dramatic shift in FPS gameplay mentality, not only favoring individualism but simultaneously encouraging teamwork and coordination. There are 5 different roles of infantry that the player can assume the role: Scout, Assault, Medic, Anti-Tank, and Engineer. Each role has its own strength and weakness. For example, the Scout role has long-range surveillance, high stopping power and the ability to provide spotting for artillery shelling against an enemy position. Unlike other games with a similar feature, other player characters must also supply the artillery fire. However, the sniper rifle is not designed to be used in close-quarter combat and players frequently treat this role as just a plain sniper role by not providing spotting for artillery. Assault is the standard role and provides very aggressive firepower. The anti-tank role specializes against vehicles and tanks, but their main weapon is inaccurate against moving enemy infantry. The medic role has the ability to heal himself and other players, but his submachine gun has less stopping power than the assault's weapons. The engineer has the ability to repair damaged vehicles and stationary weapons, and they also have the ability to deploy explosives, which are highly effective against both enemy infantry and vehicles. And lastly, landmines, which destroy enemy vehicles on contact. so definitely worth a try if you love Battlefield franchise. On number 8 spot we have Total Overdose 2. You probably already heard of this game. Total Overdose is a third-person shooter open-world action-adventure game. Players assume control of Ramiro, Tommy and Ernesto. The most playable character in the game is Ramiro, while Tommy and Ernesto can be played only in the 2 beginning missions. The game parodies Robert Rodriguez's Mexico trilogy. Throughout the game, players can run and dive and have the ability to use weapons including shotguns, rifles, handguns and rocket launchers. While outside the missions the player can explore the open world of the game, but some regions will be available only during certain missions. The game features cheap and special cars. The special cars include Conquistador, Orange Dirt Bike, Purple and Flame Pickup, Tow Truck, D and military SUVs. Players have the ability to shot dodge, during which the player dives in any direction with a slow motion effect. This move gives players more accuracy in shooting enemies in combat. Loco moves are special attacks which players can pick up by scoring large numbers of points and combo kills. These moves can be used for eliminating heavy and a group of enemies. Players can perform 7 different kinds of Loco moves: Golden Gun, Tornado, El Toro, El Mariachi, Sombrero of Death, Explosive Pinata and Mad Wrestler. So definitely worth a try if you love GTA-type games. On number 7 spot we have Risen. Risen is a single-player fantasy-themed action role-playing game. Risen is set on Faranga Island, the visual of which is inspired by Sicily. The environment is mostly mountainous, with different climates and Mediterranean vegetation. The island is dominated by an active volcano and inhabited by a wide variety of creatures. The island has buildings and suggestive names from the Spanish Inquisition in Sicily and the Norman period. There are 2 main settlements on Faranga: Harbor Town, under the rule of bandit chief Don Esteban, and the monastery, where mages and scholars study and research magic. Dotting the islands are small settlements and farms, as well as lone dwellings of hunters and druids. After mankind used magic to drive away the gods ruling them, they inadvertently unleashed the Titans, ancient beings previously sealed away by the gods. On Faranga Island, ancient temple ruins spontaneously rise from the ground, providing access to a network of interconnected underground areas such as catacombs and dungeons. So definitely worth a try if you love role-play fantasy games. On number 6 spot we have Far Cry. Far Cry is a first-person shooter game. The tropical rainforest provides cover and concealment, of which the player and enemies can take advantage. Enemies react dynamically to the player's tactics and actions. If a lone mercenary spots a player, he occasionally runs for help, signaling reinforcements through use of flare guns. Enemies will work together to outmaneuver, outflank, surround, and provide suppressive fire, providing them a tactical advantage over the player, who, in turn, is able to spot and mark enemies on their minimap through use of special binoculars, which also grant the player the ability to listen to enemy conversations from afar, merely by pointing the binoculars in the direction of the enemies. Later in the gameplay, thermal binoculars can be used to locate the heat signatures of enemies that would be otherwise concealed by foliage or darkness. The environment includes land, water, indoor and outdoor structures, all during various times of the day. The player has the ability to jump, run, crouch and lie down, and look about in all directions. Sound plays an important part in the overall gameplay. For example, the general location of enemies can often be identified by hearing their footsteps or conversations. Throughout the game, the player encounters a variety of weapons from which to choose, including automatic weapons and grenades. So definitely worth a try. On number 5 spot we have ARMA 2. ARMA 2 is an open-world, military simulation video game. Tactical shooter focused primarily on infantry combat, but significant vehicular and aerial combat elements are present. The player is able to command a squad members, which adds a real-time strategy element to the game. This is further enhanced by the high command system, which allows the player to command multiple squads using the map. There are around 130 vehicle variants, and any vehicle that exists in-game can be controlled by the player, including civilian cars, tractors and bicycles. Similarly, all aircraft encountered in the game can be flown by the player, with limited fuel and realistic weapon loadouts. ARMA 2 includes a mission editor which makes it possible to create user-made single-player missions or campaigns and multiplayer missions through use of the in-game wizard. More complex missions can be enhanced with scripting commands. The syntax and interface have both been kept largely consistent with the ARMA series, meaning that missions are ported across games. So definitely worth a try if you love realistic military simulation games. We are now on our halfway, and if you haven't yet liked the video, then please consider doing. Thanks. On number 4 spot we have Call of Duty, which means Call of Duty World at War. Call of Duty World at War is a 2008 first-person shooter video game. Game features more mature themes than previous Call of Duty installments and is open-ended, giving the player multiple ways to complete objectives, but otherwise generally plays like previous iterations of the franchise. Players fight alongside AI-controlled teammates. They help during the game's missions by providing cover fire, shooting down enemies, and clearing rooms for entry. The game's return to World War II-era warfare reintroduces weapons and technology. The player gains access to these over the course of the game, but may only carry up to 2 weapons in addition to hand grenades. Weapons and ammo from fallen foes or friendlies can be picked up to replace weapons in a player's arsenal. Players can also find weapons with additional attachments, including guns equipped with rifle grenades, telescopic sights, and bayonets. A character can be positioned in one of 3 stances: standing, crouching, or prone, each affecting the character's rate of movement, accuracy, and stealth. Using cover helps the player avoid enemy fire or recover health after taking significant damage, as there are no armor or health power-ups. When the character has taken damage, the edges of the screen glow red and the character's heartbeat increases. If the character stays out of fire, the character can recover. When the character is within the blast radius of a live grenade, a marker indicates the direction of the grenade, helping the player in deciding whether to flee or throw it back at the enemy. So definitely worth a try if you love Call of Duty games. On number 3 spot, we have Simpsons Hit and Run. The Simpsons Hit and Run is a 2003 action-adventure game. The player can control one specific character in each level. The game's playable characters are Homer, Bart, Lisa, Marge, and Apu. To drive, the player can either hitchhike and control the driver in one of the many civilian vehicles that drive endlessly around town, or use a phone booth to select a car. Several hidden vehicles are present in each level and can also be used by the player if found. The game's driving missions are also similar to those of Grand Theft Auto 3. In both games, the player races against other characters, collects items before a timer runs out, and wrecks other cars. The game has a sandbox-style format that emphasizes driving, and the player controls their character from a third-person view. The character can perform certain acts of violence, such as attacking pedestrians, blowing up vehicles, and destroying the environment. Hit and Run has a warning meter that indicates when the police will retaliate for bad behavior, located in the bottom right corner of the screen. The circular hit and run meter fills up when the character runs people over or destroys objects, and decreases when they cease doing so. When full, several police cars chase the character for the duration of the hit and run. Each level contains items the player can collect, such as coins, which can be gathered by either smashing Buzz Cola vending machines, Buzz Cola boxes, or Wasp cameras, the latter of which become more elusive as the game progresses. The coins can be used to buy new cars and player outfits, some of which are required to progress through the game. So definitely worth a try if you love GTA-type games that are on drugs. On number 2 spot we have SCARFACE. The world is yours, but not actually. SCARFACE is an open-world action-adventure game played from a third-person perspective, in which the player controls Tony Montana as he attempts to regain control of Miami's drug trade, destroy rival gangs, and restore his own reputation in the criminal underworld. The basic gameplay and game mechanics fall into the subgenre of Grand Theft Auto clones. As such, the player can commandeer vehicles, cars and boats, move around the map on foot, interact with civilians and NPCs both hostile and non-hostile, engage in primary and submissions, and wield a variety of weapons, pistols, submachine guns, shotguns, assault rifles, a sniper rifle, a rocket launcher, a chainsaw, and various melee weapons, such as pipes and machetes. In a departure from most Grand Theft Auto-style games, Tony cannot kill innocent people. If the player tries to shoot or attack a non-aggressive target, Tony will refuse to perform the action. If the player tries to hit an innocent person with a car, they will only be injured. At the start of the game, the entire map is available to explore, but Tony cannot carry out missions, attack rival gangs, or purchase property anywhere except Little Havana. Each turf must be controlled 100% before the next one becomes available for missions. Acquiring 100% requires the player to perform certain actions within each region, purchase a certain number of fronts, eliminate rival gangsters, and carry out smaller missions involving purchasing and selling cocaine. So definitely worth a try if you love GTA-type games. On number 1 spot we have Driver Parallel Lines. Driver Parallel Lines takes place in an entirely open-world environment, in which many games are now accessed from the in-game world instead of from a menu, while the game also features some new elements that are common with Grand Theft Auto: visible blood when someone is shot, and auto-aim feature. The game's appearance changes significantly between 1978 and 2006. Not only does TK's appearance change from his 1970s look to a more modern appearance in 2006, but also weapons, pedestrians and vehicles. Vehicles stored in the garage from 1978 can be used in the 2006 era and vice versa, while modifications are more expensive in the modern era than in 1978. New York's scenery changes quite significantly in places, with Times Square's lights and commercial posts changing to reflect the era they are in. While the 1978 World Trade Center appears, in 2006 it's a cleared and closed site. In addition, the New York of 1978 has a rather sepia tone to it, whereas in 2006 the sky has been blue-tinted. The player can suspend their wanted level by losing the police and entering a clean car, though it can be reactivated if they spend too much time in the sight of a police officer, who will eventually recognize the player as wanted. The same principle applies to out-of-car activities such as weapon use, in which players can holster their weapon in order to lose police attention until spotted committing illegal acts again. For the Wii version, the felony bar is replaced with the stars system, similar to that of Grand Theft Auto, which light up when the player attracts police attention. Like Grand Theft Auto, the game features fictional, yet distinct styles of vehicles based upon real automobiles that were in use within New York between the two periods. So definitely worth a try if you love GTA-type games. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Do not forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for more content, and I will see you the next time. Okay, with all due respect. Love your parents, respect your country, stay home and stay safe, and most importantly take care of yourselves.